What if, instead of rockets or spaceships, you could just hop into an elevator and press a button that says Mars? Imagine stepping inside with your morning coffee, hearing a cheerful ding, and floating away from Earth, passing the moon like it's just a neighbor's house. But before you start packing your Mars vacation suitcase, let's think about how this would actually work. First of all, our current tallest elevators take you a few hundred meters up, enough to make your ears pop and your stomach feel funny. But Mars is, on average, about 225 million kilometers away. That's about 600 million floors, give or take a few billion steps on the stairs if you feel sporty. Now, to build this Mars elevator, you'd need a cable. But not just any cable, the strongest cable ever imagined. It would need to be so strong that it could hold itself up, plus the elevator, plus anyone brave or silly enough to ride it. You might think, well, why not just use steel? But even the best steel we have would snap like a spaghetti noodle after only a few hundred kilometers. To reach Mars, we'd need a material so strong that even superheroes would be jealous. Maybe spider silk from genetically engineered space spiders? Or perhaps a cosmic strength material from an alien shopping mall? Let's say we somehow have this magical cable. You attach one end to Earth and the other end to Mars. But wait, Mars isn't just hanging out in the sky above us like a balloon. It's zipping around the sun at 24 kilometers per second, constantly changing its position. That means your cable would have to stretch and bend across millions of kilometers, flapping in space like an interplanetary spaghetti strand. One day your elevator might end up swinging into Jupiter, and that's not on most travel itineraries. Even if we figure out how to keep the cable straight, maybe with some cosmic duct tape, there's still the question of gravity. As you rise from Earth, gravity weakens, and you start to feel lighter. Pretty cool. But then, as you get closer to Mars, Mars's gravity starts pulling you in. Imagine that moment in the elevator when the floor suddenly disappears under your feet and you start floating upside down, bumping into your luggage and spilling your coffee everywhere. That's just the start of your space ride chaos. And let's not forget about the atmosphere. On Earth, we have wind, storms, and clouds, but in space, you have micrometeorites traveling at ridiculous speeds. One tiny rock the size of a pebble could slice through your elevator cable like a hot knife through butter. You wouldn't even get a chance to press the emergency stop button before you and your elevator start spinning into deep space, turning your Mars vacation into a surprise tour of Saturn's rings. If by some miracle you do manage to survive all this and reach Mars, you'll find that Mars's atmosphere is thinner than a sad birthday balloon. You'd step out of the elevator expecting a warm welcome, but instead you'd get a face full of red dust and a very cold breeze. Not exactly the perfect vacation photo moment. Meanwhile, back on Earth, people would have to deal with this massive cable anchored to the ground, reaching all the way into space. Birds would keep crashing into it, airplanes would have to constantly dodge it, and weather reporters would have a hard time explaining why there's a giant cable shadow moving across the country. Also, imagine the elevator music. Normally, we get smooth jazz or an awkward pop remix for a 30-second ride. But on a Mars elevator that takes weeks, you'd either lose your mind or become an expert in elevator music history. By the time you reach Mars, you might be humming elevator jingles for the rest of your life. And what about stops along the way? You might want to take a selfie with the moon, grab a snack at a halfway space diner, or stretch your legs in low gravity. But sadly, there are no rest areas in deep space, unless you count floating endlessly as a rest stop. So could we ever really have an elevator to Mars? Well, not anytime soon. The challenges are so big that they make our tallest skyscrapers look like Lego towers. You'd need materials we haven't even dreamed of yet, an engineering team bigger than any ever assembled, and a budget that would make even billionaires faint. Still, it's fun to imagine, because dreaming about impossible ideas is how humans make progress. Who knows? Maybe someday a kid will ask, why don't we build an elevator to Mars? And an engineer will answer, hold on, let me grab my cosmic spider silk. Until then, we'll just have to keep riding our regular boring Earth elevators. But next time you step into one, look up, smile, and imagine that you're not just going to floor 12, you're going all the way to Mars. Ding!